Hello, and welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Hi, Ashley.
Well, hello, darling. We're at this thing called podcasting yet again.
We are. And it just keeps getting better. I mean, our last two recaps were so much fun. I'm thinking about Unprisoned, the brand new Hulu series starring V. Kerry Washington and V. Delroy Lindo. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Came out on Tuesday. And
brand spanking new.
The fantastic recap, throwback, The First Wives Club.
Yes. Jazz
that was
hands.
A fun conversation. Very fun conversation for sure.
Yeah, that just gave us opportunity to have a love fest over something that we have been planning to do one about for a while. So
yes,
shared love for us and the audience on that one for sure.
For sure. All right, so this week we have a lot of quick headlines lined up and one very hot topic. So first, I am taking a look at men's health. Larsa Pippen says she and Scottie had sex 4 times a night, every night. It continues by saying, I never had a day off for 23 years. Ashley, this revelation came up during the reunion special for the Real Housewives of Miami. Someone did the math. They were like, if you're curious, that comes out to being 33,488 sexual encounters over the course of the entire marriage. Ashley, cap or no cap?
Wow, that's not the question I was expecting. I'd say no cap. I mean, I feel like there's no reason at this point in time for her to fabricate what she was out here doing with old Scottie. And somebody was like, well, it makes sense because he had a lot of back issues. So it's like validation of what they were probably getting into. But when I first saw it, you know who I immediately thought of? For all my Golden Girls fans out here, there was an episode where Rose was talking about the fact that her and Charlie, her husband, had sex every single night for their entire marriage. And Blanche was like, no wonder you've never seen I Love Lucy. Because I was thinking she had never seen an episode of I Love Lucy. And she was like, but Rose, you never talk about sex. She was like, well, I have to be honest. Usually the people who are talking about it are the ones who don't really do it that much. So, you know, I feel like, you know, for Larsa, there's nothing in my mind for her to gain to say this if it's a lie. I mean, I guess it's a headline. That could be the reason. But otherwise, I mean, she with her old young tenderoni. So I'm sure she was getting her swerve on. I don't know about 4 times a night. Maybe she went 4 times a day. What hours are we doing these 4 times a day?
Wait, what constitutes as night?
Right. Like, you saying you get woken up? Like, I know the first time y'all did it was 4 you went to sleep. You telling me you got woke up 3 more times? And also, it's the language she used when she said, I didn't get a night off. Is this sex slavery? Like, why she make it seem like she was not into it with the language?
First of all, completely speechless by this revelation because I don't really trust Larsa. She seems messy.
She is messy, for sure.
I'm trying to be nice, but it was like, I forget which housewife said it. She's like, I wouldn't trust a word that came out of her mouth. If her mouth is open, she's lying. That's like what her cast. this was just fascinating. And I was like, I have to put this on the mic and just get like an understanding of what other people are feeling about this. And obviously your thoughts on this, Ashley. So yeah, 4 times a night. And oh, one of my favorite comments, I saw this, I think, on the Shade Room. They were like, he didn't stop for the red light or nothing.
Clearly not, people. She said not a day off. Not even nobody had a headache. Nobody had a surgery. What about right after she had them babies? Because don't they have like 4 kids? You telling me you ain't getting no breaks and it's supposed to be 6 weeks? Breaks? Okay. I'm sure it's an embellishment in one way or another, no matter what, right? But it sounds like they had a very healthy sexual experience. So good for them.
Well, for the duration of the relationship, yeah. So, but apparently it couldn't keep them together. So I don't know what that says or not, but I don't know.
Well, there was one point in time when, who was it? Shawnee O'Neal said the only man who's faithful in the NBA was Grant Hill. So there's that.
That part.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was doing a basketball wife thing and was like, oh, I'll be your tenderoni to keep you from straying.
I mean, she was young, like when she married him. So, yeah.
Interesting. All right, let's go ahead and get into our next quick headline. I am looking at people.com. Gina Rodriguez and her husband Joe welcome first child together. It's a boy. I thought this was super sweet considering Gina Rodriguez has had a complicated relationship with the Black community through the years because she keeps making these gaffes that are let's just say leave something to be desired. Her rapping on her Instagram stories,
I remember
loosely saying the N-word, and I think the other issue was like, I think it was like a colorism thing when talking about the Afro-Latina community. Anyway, do you think she named her son Mateo?
I ain't stick with Jane the Virgin quite as long as you, because I was not remotely Team Michael. So that ish got
turned around. It turned around.
And I'm happy to hear that, but it was a struggle for me because all the he's gone, he's not gone. Oh, they're back together. They're not back together. Like I felt strung along. And so
it was stressful too. Yeah. When you were in it, hashtag Team Raphael, like always and forever.
And low key, I just wanted her daddy. That's another thing. It's like low key, I just wanted her daddy.
Gorgeous man.
But yeah, I mean, super cute, super happy for her. It's funny that you put as the headline Jane the Virgin baby, not Gina Rodriguez baby, Jane the Virgin baby.
In particular, I was like, Jane the Virgin had a baby.
Yeah. Following along with the storyline,
as you know.
Yeah. But I'm happy for her though. Her and her husband are so cute together.
They are.
Again, the fact that she was able to they were able to help hide that pregnancy on her latest show, because I really had no idea. Very cute. Hopefully she is enjoying motherhood bliss at the moment. So congrats.
On to sad and shocking news. This is from the New York Times. Lance Reddick, star of The Wire and John Wick, dies at 60. A prolific actor. He starred in Amazon series Bosch. He branched out into video games like Horizon Zero Dawn and the Destiny franchise. Ashley, this one hurt for me. Like I saw the alert and it borderline gutted me because I was not expecting it. So it says here, his publicist confirmed of his death, and they did not cite any cause of death, but he has had some memorable roles from The Fringe, The Wire, as I mentioned, the John Wick series. Ashley, what's your favorite project from Lance Reddick?
It's probably Bosch just because I had just done a hard binge of Bosch when we talked to my friend Teresa Snyder, who was in our In Conversation series. So that's like the freshest thing in my mind. I think I told you I haven't made it very far in the John Wick series. I think I only watched maybe the first one, maybe the second one. I don't even remember if I watched the second one. And I know I've never watched The Wire, and it's on my list at some point. I know.
It's on
I
my
know
list
people.
too. I
I
know
know.
we're in the same boat, Ashley.
There are so many of those though. Like I couldn't get into Breaking Bad. Like there are so I've still never watched The Sopranos. Like there are so many of those types of shows. But like I told you, I'm just getting into Snowfall, and I think Snowfall is about to be my show. But it's just not my
Okay,
that's not my favorite genre of television.
I get
That's
that.
what it is, right? So
Mobsters and
yeah, like
yeah,
crime, yeah.
yeah.
So it's probably Bosch, but I definitely, as soon as I saw the headline, saw his face, I was like, oh wow, because he's still so young. Like so many people are passing away like in their 50s and 60s, and it's like,
Yes.
what's going on? Like, what is the health issue or what have you that this person may have dealt with that we just may not have known about? But it did help me to get a better understanding of him because I didn't know he was married. I didn't know he had children. So, prayers to his family throughout this loss. But, thankfully he has had some great outpouring of support. I saw Keanu's, what do you call it? Like,
They honored him on the
yes,
red carpet for John Wick. They
yes.
all wore a blue ribbon in his honor. Keanu said that he was a beautiful, special person. He was a person of dignity and grace. And I just feel really honored and grateful that I had a chance to have met and worked with him. My biggest thing that I really appreciated about Lance Reddick is his ability to have such presence on screen, even when he is a supporting character. Like he was
Mm.
such, I mean, I feel like I was always drawn to him. He had that majestic voice. David is a huge fan of the Destiny franchise video games, and every time we would see him in things that we watched, he was like, "Oh, he's the guy from Destiny. He's the guy from Destiny." So, and I think the one thing that really made me sad is the fact that he was set to play Zeus in the new Percy Jackson series that's going to
Mm.
be on Disney Plus, and that's major. I love that series, and again, I know he had the regalness, to play that role in a dynamic way. So rest in peace. I'm just so saddened and praying for his family and friends.
For sure.
Our final quick headline for the day: lots of changes are going on over at Dancing with the Stars. They first moved to Disney Plus. Lynn, who was the senior judge for many years from the very beginning, has left the show as of last season, season 31. Alfonso joined Tyra as host last season as well. So we had two hosts again. But now Tyra is out and Julianne Hough is in. Will all these changes help the show return to its former glory? Or are they rearranging the chairs on the Titanic, Ashley?
What a way to phrase a question. I don't think it's the Titanic, but I definitely do not think that there is the capacity to return to former glory given the transition from broadcast to streaming. And I know it's
Mm,
still performing in terms of bringing in an audience, but it's a paid service now. It's not free over the air. So, it's just going to have
yeah.
an impact on that audience. But I think it's interesting that Tyra decided to step away after 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I probably will end up watching a little bit of the next season just to see what the chemistry is like. I didn't I told you, I don't think I made it past maybe 2 episodes last season. So I'll just kind of see what I think of the dynamics now and who the celebrities and all that is. Because let's be honest, at least for me, I don't watch the show for the hosts and the judges. I watch the show for the contestants and for these amazing pros who are out here putting together choreographed, ridiculously impressive numbers week after week. And when I say numbers, I mean dance numbers, people. Week after week after
one of
week.
my favorites, Mark Ballas announced his official retirement from Dancing with the Stars. And for the OG watchers like myself, he was it. He was everything. And the fact that he even decided to come back was a big deal. I'm actually sad that I didn't take the time to watch him this past season, but Mark Ballas. So speaking of Mark Ballas being an OG, looking at Variety, Dancing with the Stars bet Julianne Hough to join as co-host for season 32. She and her brother ruled the ballroom in its earlier seasons. Obviously, Derek being the winningest of all the professional dancers. Shout out to Val, who came up in second place way too often. We love you. He always had the Black women, but he would do amazing things with them. Shout out to Brandy. Shout out to Maya.
I want Britt to win. That's who I want to see win a season.
Shout out to Layla Ali. Oh, yes, I would love Britt. And by the way, her and her boo are somewhere on a beach somewhere. They just posted it on Instagram. It's adorable. Okay. She, like I said, was a pro dancer back in 2017. She won seasons 4 and 5 back to back, which was a big deal. She left in 2019. I was going to be shady and say she left the show when she started dating Ryan Seacrest. Sorry, a little chuckle for myself. But as we know, she's been in movies like Burlesque and Footloose, and she's even been on America's Got Talent. So I think she's definitely capable of hosting the show. My question is she going to be capable of hosting the show and not making it about herself? So,
well, Tyra didn't. So Tyra made it a fashion show every week, which I don't have any problem with. I like larger than life personalities on my TV screen. That's the point. It's entertainment, people. Entertainment.
You know, I appreciate you hitting that curveball right off the park with that. So we will see. We will see. On to the hot topic. So in the world of pop culture, things are kind of slow, but I'm not gonna lie, this Law Roach situation, his retirement is still kind of a big deal. As we discussed last week, Law Roach is in fact retired. In an interview he did with the New York magazine The Cut, he had a fantastic conversation with their editor-in-chief, and at the end of the interview, he said he is absolutely retired. She even went as far as to ask him, what happens to your former clients? And he's like, they're going to have to find new stylists. This also means, Ashley, there will be no Met Gala this year.
For him. Yeah.
For him.
I'm so glad you had this on the list, though, because otherwise I don't think I would have watched that interview in full. And I really, really enjoyed it.
Wasn't it good?
It was so good because I didn't know, like, it's always nice when you've seen someone or admired someone's work to then get that in depth about them as a human being. And so that's what it was for me. Like, I was so engaged.
Same.
And especially him talking about his childhood and when he's talking about things he wants to do next. I was like, yes, podcast. Please. Yes. I would love for you to have a podcast.
Absolutely.
It would be one of my faves.
Absolutely. And he talked about how he's going to lean into the personality side of things, being a correspondent and doing podcasts. We saw a little bit of that in Legendary, which I think he played the role very well.
Yeah, he
But
was also one of the guest judges on the streetwear fashion show that I've talked about from HBO Max that I really enjoy.
with Offset,
Yes.
nice. Let's talk more about this interview. So,
The hype.
yes, the hype. So, one thing that the interviewer listed was everybody knows Law Roach in fashion. He won in 2022 the CFD Best Stylist of the Year. That's the Council of Fashion Designers of America. And his takeaway is, isn't it best to leave when you're on top? Do you agree or disagree on this logic?
That's a good question. If you were Michael Jordan who left and went and played baseball, I would say no. But
Right.
I also know that there are people behind this talent and behind these personas. And again, that's why I said I really enjoyed this interview, because to shed light on the fact that he had lost his nephew and that really sent him down a spiral of depression. And from a work perspective, he didn't feel like there were certain people who recognized the humanity of why he needed time away. And so for those moments and those reasons, I totally understand it. Like, even if you are at the height of success in certain ways, it doesn't mean it fulfills you in the ways you want it to. It doesn't mean it makes you happy. Now, do I think fashion seems like it is absolutely him living in his purpose based on this interview? I do, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other facets to his point that will make him happier and give him more flexibility and control over his life and his livelihood. Because I don't think I would like it either if I felt like I was always beholden to other people's desires, demands, all of that sort of thing, and not able to live my best life. When he talked about being on a plane and just finally experiencing joy, I was like, I want that for you.
Yes.
I don't even know you, but I want that for you.
1000%. A common theme throughout this entire interview was him bumping heads with the gatekeepers of his clients, as well as the gatekeepers within the industry. So let's first talk about the clients. In a very public conversation Priyanka had shortly after Law announced his retirement, she talked about having an unnamed stylist talk about her not being a sample size. And she said it was extremely hurtful and that she cried to her family and her people because she's never had that happen to her. But in this interview, Law said, I never had that conversation with her, and that it was hurtful for him that it got into the press and not have a one-on-one conversation. I think the insights that he provided in this interview was fascinating on, like, I had the assumption that he would have more interaction with the client, but depending on who your people are,
for sure,
that's just not the case.
For sure, because a lot of celebrities have so many people that circle around them on a consistent basis. You have your assistant, you have your publicist, you have your agent, you have, and you just don't know, you have the hangers on, the friends, the family, the whoever's. You never know what that circle is like, celebrity to celebrity, person to person. So I can only imagine that you have a lot of agendas. You have a lot of, folks who are wanting to insert their own opinions. So when he said the thing about people want to make me the bad guy because it's what they want to say, like, I was like, oh, I could totally imagine that. I could totally see that they would use you as like the scapegoat to get across their message. So,
and the one thing, it was slightly a throwaway comment, but he talked about, and I know this from following his work for most of his career, especially on his rise, he's worked with all types of body types. So it's like, it just seemed out of character for him to be like, oh, well, you're not a sample size. I'm like, I don't know if that makes any sense. And he even said he worked with Anne Hathaway shortly after she had her baby, and he worked with Tiffany Haddish, and he mentioned she fluctuated in weight, and he said that when she wasn't a sample size, she would buy her clothes. So I almost wonder if it was a conversation about like spending some money and her team probably didn't want it to do that. And it turned into something,
That's a great point, Delora. That's quite possible.
Something much uglier. But so many things. So I want to talk about the gatekeeping within the fashion industry. I didn't think about fashion from in terms of nepotism, but I'm like, duh, it makes sense, right? And he also made it clear that it's not necessarily about racism, but it's about what who people perceive that they would feel comfortable working with, right? And so it took time for him to enter this world, and it took working with Zendaya as well as musicians like Ariana and Celine Dion to finally get his break. But this interview made me love Anne Hathaway even more. Talking about she was the first big movie star that really gave him attention. But what really broke my heart was him not feeling validated by his own people. NAACP, BET.
Yeah. Because when he said that, I said out loud, when he was like, it would mean so much more to me if I would get that from my, like, if I felt, I don't know if he said I felt loved or something. And I literally said out loud too, because I was watching on my laptop. I was like, but we do. We do love you. Whether or not the powers that be invite you to the major Black ceremonies, trust me, the Black community who pay attention to any of those things, absolutely love you. Like Law Roach is one of the only reasons I even pay attention. As I've said it many times, I'm not a high fashion girl necessarily. Like I don't love certain looks that people think come down the runway and are stunning. I'm like, okay. But Law Roach makes me like more high fashion looks than I've probably ever liked in a very long time. So I'm personally going to miss seeing what he comes up with. But to his point, if he does end up being like Zendaya's creative director or whatever, then it won't be the end. But he has had many looks that I'm just like, damn.
Exactly.
If only just one day I could get styled by you. Just one day. Change my life. Change my life, Law.
But that's what a lot of the artists, actors or musicians end up personally reaching out to him and say, hey, if you are on my side, I will get the attention, the elevation that's needed for me to go to the next level. And he wants to be paid accordingly as well. He's like, I am not the same as a hairstylist or a makeup artist. I am a storyteller. And again, his works are so iconic. So going back to his conversation of not feeling protected, I wanted to highlight that because once he went into his personal story and knowing that he was dealing with a mother who dealt with addiction and that he was the oldest of 5, it meant so much more when he talks about not feeling protected and having to fight his way through the industries. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It was sad to hear that his mother left him by himself at like 13, 14 years old. You never know what people have gone through. That's why I said that's one of the biggest takeaways for me, just the ability to get these personal stories from him behind the glitz and glamour of the world that I've known him to be a part of. That's why I said I want a podcast, because then you really gonna get his personal directly in his voice. But yeah, it makes total sense because we're all overcoming the things that our childhood that happened to us in our childhood essentially and shaped us in those ways. And for him to be abandoned by your mom, to be abandoned, not have a family, devastating. Amazing that he has done the things he's done, given that some people don't overcome those sorts of backgrounds.
So I want to close this conversation on a legacy. So when he discussed being inspired by Rachel Zoe and her show, that brought such a smile to my face because I remember watching her freaking show. She was one of the first celebrity stylists that, you had to know where did she get that rhinestone trucker hat from?
I used to watch her show too, but can I be honest? She used to give me freaking anxiety, like nobody's business. Like right between, because it just felt like everything was always about to be last minute. Don't know if we're gonna make it on time. Don't know.
But that's
like
normal this is fashion artist.
And that's the thing. I was like, that would not be the job for me. My anxiety is through the roof just watching you trying to figure it out, ma'am. Like Jason Bolden, him and his husband's reality show, because there was a different balance. I didn't feel that same anxiety. But when I used to watch Rachel's show, no, seriously, I was like, I can't watch this today. Like, she's gonna stress me out. So it's funny. We had total opposite reactions.
That's so funny. I remember watching her show.
Yeah.
But I love that he found inspiration in that. And he talked about how the fact that he can be someone that the next generation can look to, I thought was super inspiring. So we're going to end on a fun note. What's your favorite or iconic Law Roach look that come to mind?
That's an impossible question. That is literally an impossible question. I couldn't even begin to tell you. It's going to be something Zendaya wore probably at some point in time, but she's had so many iconic looks at this point. She just her Met Galas.
Let's narrow it down. I was just about to say, let's narrow down to Met Gala.
Her Met Galas are always, even the Cinderella look, because it was so unexpected, it was so whimsical. It was beautiful.
You know what's funny?
I loved that look.
That's my least favorite.
Interesting. I personally loved it, but it's too many. It's an impossible freaking question for me. Zendaya stuns me 10 times out of 10.
No, but like whenever he works with a celebrity, I'm like, oh, you see it immediately, and it just works for them so well. So for me, my favorite Met Gala look from Law that comes to mind would be Zendaya's Joan of Arc look.
You like that wig though? I ain't really love that wig.
I did, because it was on theme.
It was.
I love the wig. I love everything. Iconic.
I'm trying to look back now. Like, it's just too many.
The things he used to do with Celine Dion when she was working in Vegas, hands down, amazing. He said that he also worked with Lizzo in the beginning of her career.
Yeah, I did hear him say that.
I can see it. She used to be really cute, more quote unquote urban, right? When she first hit the scene.
It's so impossible. Even her dress she wore to the Spider-Man premiere. Come on.
I'm thinking about the pink mold.
I love the pink mold. I'm thinking about the suit she wore. Her and Michael B. Jordan wore the same suit. Yeah. Even this look she just had at the CFDA Awards this year, that red with the I don't know if you call it bandage top, whatever you call bandeau top, whatever you call that. It's just too many. It's too many for me. Everything stuns me.
Like, I'm gagged.
Legit.
The youngins say. The things he's done with Anya Taylor-Moore, Joy.
Yeah, she always comes out looking great.
Joy, amazing.
So I understand when he was like, my clients were thinking about themselves. I personally would have been one of those like, damn, like, this is really going to hurt.
Green dress that Zendaya won to the Emmys in 2019.
Yes. This is really going to hurt me to not have Law anymore. I would definitely feel it. I would definitely feel it. So, but good for you. If this is for the best for you, do you.
Absolutely. We love you. We're rooting for you. And I look forward to his work in fashion, even though
this sneaker collab he's going to be creative director over, whatever that is, please.
A book deal.
Let me know.
A book deal is coming. Looking forward to that as well. So, all right, Ashley, what are we recapping for next week?
So I feel like we've been getting some new projects that obviously we're excited about, because this is another new one.
Brand spanking.
Fresh. But it's been out on these internets. The people are talking.
It's spoilery on these internets.
It is spoilery. but we are recapping from the mind of Janine Neighbors and Donald Glover. Swarm, people. 7 episodes starring the Dominique Fishback. If you don't know the name, you're going to know the name soon. Because she is a star, honey. A star.
1000%.
Make sure y'all check this one out and come back and see us, because there's a lot to discuss. The first episode alone could have been a film, in my opinion. A lot of shenanigans. So that's the recap. We'll see you guys next time. Delora, love you so much. Thank you as always for a great Headlines and Hot Topics episode.
I love you too, Ashley. Buzz, buzz, bitches.
Woof. Beehive, don't come for us, because it ain't us. All right, guys. Be blessed.
Bye.